Hi everyone, it's November 16th, 2020. I thought I'd make an update on some of my goals, especially on lifestyle changes that I hope to make. So I don't know where my viewers are living, but here in Seattle, Washington, unfortunately, we went back to stage 1 of the COVID-19 lockdowns, and I have mixed feelings about that. I have friends and coworkers who are at high risk. I have friends who are at risk of their livelihoods. But at the same time, I like that I can continue to work remotely. I talked about how Seattle wasn't exactly what I call home, and so I have good feelings about that. The other reason I have good feelings about the lockdown is that there are still a number of lifestyle changes that I hope to tackle. And yes, I realize that eventually we will go back to social life, and I'll have to maintain them through social life. But having a stepping stone of being able to change some of my habits without having to deal with others, certainly very helpful. To give you an example, during the time we were in stage 2, I was able to go to the office. And part of the reason I had a hard time in the past with intermittent fasting is that some of my coworkers like to offer me food. Sometimes they bring in something they know I can eat because I have dietary restrictions. Or sometimes I'll have a coworker who's eating really loudly, especially chips. And that just becomes too much of a temptation for me. But during the time we were first in stage 1, back in March, and I started intermittent fasting, and I got used to that idea. So in June, when I was back in the office and people were offering me food or chomping on chips, I was able to tackle that independently of the idea of going on fasting. So long story short, I hope to capitalize on the next couple of months of back to stage 1, where I can make even more lifestyle changes, and then when I go back to social life, to be able to maintain. It's a lot easier to maintain a habit than it is to change it, even if I have to deal with social life. So that gets to the first of my goals, is that to make use of the next month, and also when we do go back to social life, to make the necessary adjustments to maintain my new healthy lifestyles into the social life. Now, speaking of social life, I have a problem with how I interact with people. I have a hard time with rocking the boat when I need to. When somebody's walking all over me. I do a lot of odd gigs that I sometimes find on Craigslist or elsewhere, and people walk all over me because I have a hard time rocking the boat. I do a lot of tutoring gigs. I used to have people who cancel on me all the time, and nowadays, even when I do mention my cancellation policy, people still do. And I talked about this a little bit in the last video. So in my policy, I'll tell people that if they want to cancel, they need to give me 24 hours notice, or else they're going to have to pay for the session. But people find creative ways around that too. One of the most common ones is that instead of canceling, people change the location, or they change some aspect of it that they know I won't be able to do, right? And so, for example, I had one client, I was going to meet him at a Starbucks because his home is just really difficult to drive to. I'm not a very good driver, and I really resent driving to his place. And I also prefer to meet at the Starbucks. This was before COVID-19. I prefer to meet at the Starbucks because it gives me a little bit of exposure. People get to see that I'm tutoring, and what subjects I get to tutor. I've met other clients that way. I've met other significant people in my life that way. And the quote he was giving just didn't justify going to his home. I especially despise going to other people's home, because it's a dead end, right? Once I do the tutoring there, nobody saw it. I didn't get to advertise. And depending on where they live, it's very time consuming, right? Public places tend to be on the main highway. Going to somebody's home is just a lot of trouble for not much, right? And given the amount he was offering, it really wasn't worth it. And I think he knew that. So 2 hours before the tutoring session, he goes, my car broke down today. Can we do the tutoring at my home? And in the past, I might have done it, but this was back in February. I told him, well, we could, but, you know, our deal was at the Starbucks, so I'm going to have to raise the price by this much. And he stopped responding to me. And he never paid for what was really his cancellation, right? That's the kind of trouble I run in. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world, but I have a hard time breaking the beat of the music, you know, when I need to rock the boat. I learned kind of the hard way, never to, when I'm out in public, if somebody asks me to keep an eye on their stuff, to never offer to do that. Fortunately, we really shouldn't anyway because of the health situation, but even after this passes, I had a few bad situations last year. One time, I was getting ready to go stargazing in Ellensburg, and I had gone to a Starbucks just where I was planning to do the stargazing, just outside of the Starbucks. And there were still a good 2 hours to go. I was sitting in the Starbucks writing a computer game, and this guy comes up to me and asks me if I could watch his stuff. He just go into the bathroom. I don't know what happened to him. I hope he didn't have COVID-19, but he was in the bathroom for a good 25-30 minutes, and I really wanted to go outside to practice. The event wasn't up in the sky yet, but I wanted to make sure I got a good view of the sky. And he's still in the bathroom, and I didn't know what to do, so I took his computer outside with me in order to look at the night sky. And when he came out, he frantically, I guess he was inside and frantically looking for his stuff. And when I saw him come out of the store, he was holding his cell phone and angrily screaming. And then he saw me and his computer, and he shouted an obscenity at me. And another time, I had gone to a library, and this guy wanted me to watch his stuff again. And I thought he was just going to go to the bathroom, but he went out to look for dinner. He came back to the library like 50 minutes later, and I was upset at him, but you know, this is a library where I have a lot of friends, so I didn't want to show I was upset. So I asked the guy, "Are you okay?" And he said, yeah, I just went out to get dinner. And he puts his stuff down and heads out again. And I said, "What are you doing? I need to go." And he said, "No, I'm just going to go to the bathroom." See, I really should have put my foot down. I mean, I did have a few minutes to let him go to the bathroom, but I was upset about just the invasion of personal space. I think by the time I said, "Are you okay?" he should have apologized and ended it right there, right? And the bathroom this is at the library, is literally like, I mean, you have to go through a door and then go into the door of the bathroom, but it's like 50 feet away. He could have taken his laptop with him. That's what I would have done. I've never asked anybody to watch my stuff. I can never understand the mentality of that. I mean, it's not like we have so much stuff on hand, right? I've never understood the mentality of why you ask somebody to watch your stuff. I don't understand it. If somebody could help me comprehend that, leave a comment. But I learned the hard way never again. Sometimes I literally have to just pretend not to hear them or be busy or whatever it takes, right? Or maybe I even suggest them, why don't you take your stuff with you? I don't think this is a very safe place, right? Depending on the situation. But I've learned to break the beat of the music, and I need to do that more. I have a hard time with that. Last year I was working at a tutoring center. I still work there, but remotely now. And at the tutoring center, our manager likes to give little prizes to the students who do very well, right? Especially snack foods, which is a problem if the students eat it during the tutoring session, because we're sitting really close, right? We're not socially distanced, not back then at least. When we go back, maybe, but not in 2019. And I have food allergies to milk. I get eczema when I come into contact with them. And I really try to nudge my students to maybe take the food with them back home. I do encourage them to have some reward. I mean, if it were up to me, the food choices would be a lot better. But I was trying to nudge this one student to take the food home with him by. I was telling him to please be careful because I have allergies, and I thought he would understand that to mean maybe he should take the snacks back home. And he didn't get the memo. I should have been more. See, I hate to break the beat of the music. The student's doing well. He's enjoying his snack. He was very vigilant about being careful. But I thought that really interrupted on our study time, that he had to watch being careful with his food. He didn't seem to realize that, but I really thought it affected my how much he got out of it, and by extension affected my performance, right? Or at least his perception, or his family's perception of my performance. And I thought that was a little bit unfair, but I didn't break the beat of the music, and I really should. That's been my other goal. My last goal of 2021, and this is contingent on how safe it is to learn how to go on vacation. I have a hard time with that. The unfortunate thing is that some of my coworkers don't really approve of the places I like to go. I work with a lot of Chinese folks, and when they hear I'm going to Japan especially, or when they hear about me going to Poland, some of them don't have good views of those places. And the truth is, I need to learn how to go to Las Vegas and all the nice places most of my peers love, right? Cancun, where else? New Orleans. And I have a anxiety problem with loud noises like that, but that's exactly why I need to get over it and go there next year. And we'll have to see. I mean, it's good to go there and then reevaluate how I feel, because I've never been to those places. Anyways, some goals in my food, my social life, and speaking up for myself in the coming year. Thanks for watching.